Tonight, stretched to breaking point. Staff in Scotland's health and social care sector warn things need to change and call for urgent funding to support the industry.
It would be easy to just walk away. It's not an easy job every day, you know, it is very stressful.
Also tonight, Police Scotland crack down on rural drug crime. We're out with officers in Murray as they raid properties and target criminal gangs in the area. How do we keep our children safe from artificial intelligence? Cyber experts warn safeguarding needs to be put in place as the use of generative AI sites skyrockets. Good evening. Stretched to breaking point. Too few beds and years of underinvestment. These are just some of the challenges confronting Scotland's health and social care sector. As pressure on staff continues to mount, calls are growing for urgent funding. Gráinne Graham has been speaking to those on the front line.
You never know what you're coming into. You never know if there's going to be enough staff. It's that constant firefight.
There are pressures across every inch of the health service. The community is no exception. At this hospital in Stonehaven, every bed is filled just like yesterday and the day before. There are almost 170 beds in community hospitals across Aberdeenshire, but there's often a waiting list to get in. Today, there's 25 people waiting to be admitted, either from hospitals like Aberdeen Royal Infirmary or from GPs and home as well.
I think if we could put 1 million more beds out, and that might not necessarily, we'll just fill them again. What we need to ensure is that our community provisions are really robust, and that is increased care packages being available. You know, that investment into our social care, I think, is really, really needed, and that is currently, you know, one of the big barriers that we've got. Also, long-term care.
A review earlier this year found NHS Grampian would need an additional 170 beds to improve patient flow. But unions warn bed capacity isn't the only issue. With more people leaving the profession on the rise, those who remain are working tirelessly but are being stretched to breaking point.
It's like a snowball effect, because the less staff that are available, the increased workload on the staff that are left, that adds pressure onto them and they're more likely to leave or look for work elsewhere. The funding model for social care needs further investment.
At this care home, their top priority is providing the best quality.
You need to have that passion, or it would be easy to just walk away. It's not an easy job every day, you know, it is very stressful. It can take a lot. You see a lot of things that you would never imagine that you would see or have to deal with, and it does take a strong person to be able to deal with that and continue and still hold on to that passion.
But over the past 5 years, NHS Grampian has seen a 9% increase in its older population, higher than the rest of the country. And an ageing population is contributing to those pressures. But the Health Board remains the second lowest funded board per head of population.
Population is ageing, but we have younger people as well, you know. There's less availability for people with learning disabilities and things, so these people have to be placed as well. So it's just that vicious circle of never enough beds, there's not enough beds in ARI, but if we did free them up, because there's a huge percentage of beds that are blocked, then we probably could flow things a bit better.
The Scottish Government says they've provided a record $21 billion for health and social care this year, and that they've invested $200 million to provide patient flow and enhance capacity. But for those on the ground, they say pressures don't look set to ease as they go into their busiest time of the year. Gráinne Graham, STV News.
Meanwhile, doctors are warning the next 3 years will be pivotal for the future of general practice. The British Medical Association describes a new funding deal from the Scottish Government as a step in the right direction. Our political correspondent Ewan Petrie has more.
Doctors have long argued that years of underinvestment have pushed general practice into crisis. That has left patients struggling to get appointments and piled pressure on staff.
We work all hours to try to meet demand far beyond the core hours that we're contracted to work. the BMA safe working guidance for GPs advises 25 patient contacts a day per GP. We work beyond that most days of the week. We exceed our safe working limits, and that's just because we just don't have the capacity to be able to meet demand.
Last month, the Scottish Government announced additional funding of more than £500 million. That has gone down well with delegates at the Scottish Local Medical Committee conference in Aberdeen.
It is certainly a significant investment that is warmly welcome. It is a step in the right direction to salvaging the NHS and protecting universal free healthcare. It is a start. There's much work to do, and we need to see a number of additional support mechanisms in place for the service renewal framework promised by government to be delivered.
Doctors say the future of general practice hangs in the balance. Do you accept that?
I think the next 3 years' investment is absolutely critical for general practice. It provides that stabilisation and support to grow, to be able to employ more GPs, to be able to move into a more upstream agenda of preventative care, and helps us to shift the balance of care. So £500 million going into general practice, a record investment into core GP services over the next 3 years.
The Health Secretary also addressed concern from doctors over plans for walk-in GP clinics, saying the policy will be reviewed if it shows the same failings seen elsewhere in the UK. Ewan Petrie, STV News.
Scotland's unenviable title of the drugs death capital of Europe is well known. Now Police Scotland is carrying out raids across Moray as part of a new operation to target criminal gangs to crack down on county lines operations. Nicola McCally has been out with officers on the raid.
Detectives and police officers target a potential drug dealer in Moray. This is just one of the raids that took place in the Buckie area this week as Police Scotland cracked down on county lines gangs infiltrating the region. Police! A new proactive unit's been set up to deal with a growing trend of incoming criminals from other more urban areas.
The county line drug dealers are organised crime groups from anywhere across the UK who target particular areas, move into those areas in order to deal drugs. They bring with them harm into our communities in terms of violence and coercion of vulnerable people and quite often children in our communities as well through exploitation. And in Moray we have seen just this year individuals from many parts of the UK, London, the Midlands and the North East of England who we've dealt with in relation to drug dealing activity.
This is the first in a number of drug raids in the Moray area, as Police Scotland say they're determined to crack down on dealing in the area's communities.
They're using a multi-agency approach called Operation Protector to try to help support vulnerable people caught up in the chaotic lifestyle of drug dealing and abuse. Key workers like Amanda are offering advice to anyone who'll accept it.
Yeah, and it's completely different when someone's door goes in. They're sitting part of their normal day and the door goes in. But yeah, we've been very lucky, we've been received well, and as long as we and the police know that we're there to support people into service, and that's what it's all about, is the aftercare.
That's it, there's no judgment from you guys,
no.
You're there to
help.
help.
Yeah, that's it.
How busy are you in Moray?
Busy. I don't think we'll ever be out of a job, unfortunately. We've got so many people who have issues with substances, as well as the crime that's linked to that, county lines, cuckooing. So yeah, we're very busy in Moray.
Local councillor Peter Bloomfield often accompanies the raids as an observer.
I've been out with them before. My background is ex-military, and I was able to point out somebody that was suffering from PTSD last time, and we got the right people, we got arrows in, and they were treating him, giving him the treatment and the respect that he required to keep him on the straight and narrow.
Inquiries are still ongoing into these raids. Drugs including crack cocaine and heroin were seized. Police Scotland say they're determined to keep the pressure on to try to clamp down on drugs and protect vulnerable people in more rural communities. Nicola McCally, STV News.
It's Black Friday and retailers are facing a crucial period, hoping for a boost in trade. Small businesses say speculation around this week's budget had already resulted in a drop in footfall. And as the Scottish budget looms, they hope ministers here will follow the Chancellor in cutting business rates. Here's Hayley Bomma.
The countdown until Christmas is on, and so is the race to grab a bargain in the Black Friday sales.
I bought chocolates and 2 Christmas cards.
And have you got any Black Friday deals?
No. It's a Black Friday for me.
Just pyjamas and socks for a Christmas present.
And how about yourself? What are you in for today?
I got a lovely cardigan for myself because I'm a bit more selfish and it was in the sale.
20% off, that's all there was. I can't say that it was a great bargain.
But leading up to today, footfall had stalled. Retail experts say consumers were waiting on the Chancellor's budget announcement.
There's definitely a nervousness about it. We know consumers have been holding back a bit of spending. I think there's a bit of nervousness with the UK budget coming up, but also that the economy's not great right now. So it's exciting that Christmas trading is really kicking off today, but also there's a bit of worry about underneath that.
Earlier this week, the Chancellor announced business rate cuts for retail and hospitality in England, but that doesn't apply to retailers here in Scotland. However, the Scottish Government budget announcement is just weeks away, and they're hoping that ministers will do the same for them. Small retailers in Aberdeenshire say that current business rates are crippling and need to be urgently addressed.
It would be a substantial saving in terms of a business cost. It's right up there with, energy and staff costs. There is an opportunity there for the Scottish Government to support the retail and hospitality sector by adopting that measure and introducing it.
Plans to raise the national living wage for workers from April next year were also announced in the budget. But that could cost employers like this one tens of thousands of pounds more every year.
It's another cost we need to absorb next year. We've had costs we need to absorb the last few years. Because our industry is so competitive, it's very hard to increase our prices. I think in this region, the fiscal policy towards oil and gas is a big issue. When people are lacking in confidence in their jobs and their salary coming in every month, I think that absolutely affects us.
The UK government say their plans will help grow the economy and encourage businesses to invest, whilst the Scottish Government budget is due to be delivered in January. For the meantime, small businesses hope today will mark the start of a busy festive season ahead. Hayley Bomber, STV News.
Now, the rise of artificial intelligence has certainly been on people's minds recently, and cyber safety experts are warning that safeguards must be put in place to protect children from AI chat websites. Generative AI sites, which allow anyone to interact with fictional characters online, are causing concern. Here's Reem Sattar.
A few years ago, we may have associated artificial intelligence with robots or supercomputers. But AI is playing an increasing part in our lives and is hard to avoid. Chatbots are online websites or apps which users can ask any question to and receive a computer-generated answer. Sites such as ChatGPT are designed to have textual conversations. Young people in Aberdeen say these platforms are addictive.
If something bad would be happening to me, I would pretty much go to ChatGPT and try find an answer out of something. It's like I'd keep searching. And I feel like AI really does perpetuate that. They always finish off a prompt with, oh, do you want to know about this or that? And that just kind of leads on to the cycle of just wanting to find out more. AI rarely tells you to stop.
I'll use it at least 5 times per day, and I can't believe it's been that many times since January already. And we're coming up to the end of the year, so the cycle of it being addicted because it's quick and easy is really true. The model having to ask you questions, oh, do you want any more information about this, is really enticing as well.
Microsoft's AI CEO Mustafa Suleyman tweeted in August this year that there were reports of AI psychosis and a rise in unhealthy attachments between humans and AI. He warns that safeguards must be put in place now. Last week, Mental Health UK revealed that more than 1 in 3 people use AI chatbots for mental health support. Now, generative AI such as this are characters people can interact with online, which is causing concern amongst cyber safety experts. So, what exactly are the dangers of this new wave of artificial intelligence?
All of these characters are designed to behave in an enormously adult way. You can tell that by...
Annabelle Turner is one of those experts calling for regulations to be put in place on websites she says are inappropriate for children. Most of the chatbot or generative AI sites do not have any age verification checks, and aren't closely moderated.
It normalises incredibly harmful behaviour. If you're interacting with an AI, a Gen AI character that is flirting with you, that's pushing boundaries in the conversation, it's no different to if you were being groomed by an adult. I don't think we want to be scared of this. What we need to be doing is having a conversation with parents rapidly to explain what these are and then to make sure that they know how to support their child. I would definitely be encouraging any parents or carers to make sure you've got your settings set to them not accessing apps and products that are over 17 plus.
The UK's Online Safety Act, which came into place this year, was hailed by campaigners to be a step in the right direction. But as technology continues to evolve, they're asking, can we keep up with the rapid acceleration of artificial intelligence? Reem Sitar, STV News.
An investigation is underway after a body was recovered from water in Cooper Angus this morning. Tayside Mountain Rescue and police were called to the Perthshire town where the body was recovered from Cooper Burn around 11:10. A police cordon remained in place on Burnside Road this afternoon with CID officers at the scene. Inquiries are ongoing. Police have sealed off a church in Perth following the discovery of possible human material. On Wednesday, officers were called to Trinity Church on York Street following the discovery. A police dog and forensic investigators have been working at the scene this afternoon. Investigations are said to be at an early stage. Now, six-time Olympic champion Sir Chris Hoy says he's disappointed and saddened a UK-wide screening programme for prostate cancer will not be rolled out. A committee has ruled routine testing for the majority of men would likely cause more harm than good. Around 1,000 men in Scotland die from the disease every year. Callum Clark has this report.
It's the small things in life which 73-year-old Derek Chalmers from Perth has become increasingly grateful for, after he was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2022.
When you hear that news of prostate cancer, kind of what goes through your mind?
Oh, devastated, you know. I mean, I was 3 years younger than I am now, but, you know, I thought it's a really old man's problem, like, you know. But I was shocked when I heard that I had prostate cancer.
Derek counts himself as one of the lucky ones, after his cancer was detected early during an annual checkup, something he gets after suffering a heart attack in his 50s. But for others, like former cyclist Chris Hoy, prostate cancer can be terminal. The six-time Olympic gold medalist met with the First Minister today, ahead of announcement about a possible UK-wide screening programme. An advisory committee ruled it should not be made routinely available for the majority of men.
The concerns about the harm that might be caused by using PSA blood test as the main basis for a screening programme, the evidence isn't there yet to justify that for all men.
Healthcare is a power devolved to Scotland. The man in charge of that, Neil Gray, tonight saying he takes the recommendations from the screening committee seriously and is mindful of misdiagnosing men. For Derek, it's an opportunity missed.
I wouldn't like to see how many men are walking out there, probably with the symptoms, even at an early stage. And if there was some sort of screening test, it would save a lot of grief for a lot of men.
Callum Clark, STV News.
Dundee is holding its annual Reclaim the Night March this evening to unite in solidarity against violence towards women and girls. It's part of a national movement that goes back to the late 70s, aiming to show that females have the right to be anywhere at any time without threat of intimidation or violence. Organisers say all sexes are welcome at the march, which is not targeted at gender but towards negative attitudes and actions.
What we really need is for men not to be silent, because silence actually is neutrality, and we need to be past that now. We need men to stand up for us, we need men to speak for us, we need them to call this out in the locker room, we need them to speak to their friends, to challenge misogyny, because we can't do this alone. It's a men's violence issue, and we need men to stand by us and alongside us in order to tackle this issue and to challenge it effectively.
Well, that takes us to all the sport. Chris is here.
Your window to sport. C.R. Smith sponsors STV Sport.
Aberdeen manager Jimmy Tilleen refused to throw in the towel on the Dons Europa Conference dream, but the Swede admitted they would need to win both their remaining league phase games to progress. Well, it was another frustrating night of what could have been against Armenian champions Noah, but attention now turns to getting a positive result at Livingston on Sunday.
Now we have to win both games and be really, really lucky with all other results. We don't control anything there now. So it was more about that situation today to give us a chance. Now it's difficult.
How difficult they can make it, but I mean that's not to be disrespectful either, because they've got good players that can hurt you if you let them play. So we, as I said, we have to be at it. We have to recover now and just be ready to go Sunday.
Elsewhere, Celtic turned back the clock under Martin O'Neill to thump Feyenoord 3-1 in Rotterdam. Now, Dundee United manager Jim Goodwin is remaining tight-lipped on whether he'll make a change between the sticks at Kilmarnock tomorrow. But the Tannadice ball...
As Yevhen Kucherenko punched the ball into his own net in last weekend's 3-0 defeat to Falkirk. A game to forget for the Dundee United stopper, but manager Jim Goodwin has backed the 26-year-old to come back stronger.
I've had a good conversation with him in the office at the beginning of the week, and just to let him know that we're all with him and that we understand what he's going through at the moment, and he's got the full support and the full backing of all of the staff and players here. But it's a test of character. You've got to show real determination to come through those difficult moments. You need resilience, and I believe Kucherenko has got that.
Goodwin hasn't ruled out making a change between the sticks for tomorrow's trip to Rugby Park to face Kilmarnock.
We're in a very good position within the squad with having a really good, strong goalkeeping department. We've got an experienced number 2 there in Dave Richards, which is, not too similar to other teams where they go with a strong number 1 and a really young number 2. We've deliberately built the squad this way in case of any injury, suspension or poor form, that we can make a change if necessary. And Dave Richards is chomping at the bit for an opportunity, so time will tell tomorrow whether he gets that or not.
Having lost 6 of their last 7 games, Dundee boss Stephen Presley has branded tomorrow's visit of St Mirren as pivotal. The Dark Blues sit just 1 point ahead of bottom side Livingston.
The opportunity to make real progress, but also it could leave us a little bit more isolated at the bottom of the league. So that's why it has such great importance. So I think both teams will be very much aware of that. We're only into our 14th game of the season, but it's a real pivotal game. I understand that. You can say, well, it's only another 3 points, but because of the scenario around both clubs at this present moment, I think the importance of it's definitely heightened.
Elsewhere in the Premiership tomorrow, Hearts visit Motherwell, while on Sunday Celtic travel to Hibs and Rangers welcome Falkirk. Stephanie Daly, STV Sport.
Now, it's third round weekend in the Scottish Cup with some mouth-watering ties up and down the country. Well, Turra United, they travel to Ayr United, while Buckie are all the way down in Annan. Ross County, well, they head to play Highland League Bank City here in Aberdeen. And in League One, Montrose go to Benburb in Glasgow. It's Dick Campbell's East Fife against his old club Arbroath. And Cove Rangers head to Perth to take on high-flying St Johnstone. While in Inverness Cally, well, they face Lowland League Trinent all the way down to East Lothian.
It's going to be a good atmosphere, and it's great because that's what you want. That's what the Scottish Cup's all about. But we're excited, I think they look as if they're very excited and they're up for it as well. So, yeah, it's going to be a hard game, but we'll make sure we're at our best.
They've got a good team, they've got a strong striker up front. They've got good midfield energy in there, and at the back, Mark Reynolds, Marsland in there. So, there's no stone unturned with that. We've done a lot of work on that and made sure that we know exactly the opponents that we're facing and know what we'll need to do to beat them.
It's a one-off game, and one-off game, everything can happen. There's one bounce somewhere, there's one slip, comes to challenge, red card, there will be one set pieces, a goal. Things can happen. So many things can change, during the one game.
And I tell you what, some of these managers will have to watch their feet because that is a round full of banana skins. See you back here Monday.
Your window to sport. CR Smith sponsors STV Sport.
Just time for the weather forecast now. Philip is standing by, and I hear we're in for a good weekend, which, after what we've been having recently, I think we're due.
Oh, I know, Andrea, and it's all my fault. Blame it on the weatherman. We have had a bit of everything this week across much of the country, but I do love this time of year because it offers the opportunity for some beautiful photos. A huge thank you again to everyone for sending them in this past week. Here are a couple. We've got a lovely sunset over Loch Lomond, a look at the snow in Aberdeen last week, and a pretty pink sky at Hopeman in Murray. This weekend is looking nice, Andrea, so yes, if anyone gets any more lovely snaps, then do send them in to us. We love to see them and share them. Let's take a closer look. Here is your forecast.
Wet by the coast, with a high chance of sun and splashing. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
So last night we did see some pretty strong winds associated with this area of low pressure that's now pulling away to the north and the northeast. We actually recorded a maximum wind gust of 83 miles per hour. As we head into the weekend, we're put back into a chilly northerly airflow. However, we are seeing some pretty settled and pleasant conditions. We'll get to that in just a minute. Back to just now. This is today's band of rain continuing to sink south and southeastwards, finally clearing, and we will see some good dry and clear spells through the second half of the night. So where we've got the clear conditions, temperatures will take a plunge, and we've got very light winds now. So it does mean it will be a bit of a chilly night to come. Temperatures dropping below freezing quite widely, in some rural spots possibly getting down to -3, -4 degrees Celsius. That in turn means that for Saturday morning it will be a chilly and in some places frosty start to the day. However, a really pleasant, fine day to come, remaining largely dry. Any showers are confined to the very far north of the country. Plenty of brightness and sunshine throughout the course of the afternoon, and light winds once again. Temperatures are down a degree or two though compared to today, highs of only 4 or 5 degrees Celsius. Then looking ahead to Sunday, another lovely day to end the weekend. You've got this ridge of high pressure across the country, plenty of sunshine once again. Those temperatures down a degree or two once again, highs of 4. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
Does indeed look a nice weekend. I bet there are lots of Christmas trees going up over the next couple of days. I'll be one of them. From all of us here, a very good night. Bye-bye.